Pule Molebatsi for Stories Untold. Thank you for choosing us as your source of information. This is indeed the home of good news. It's also a platform where we share, grow and learn together. Thank you once again for being here. Today we spend some time with You Are Not Alone, which is a non-governmental organization that assists survivors of gender-based violence. But they don't just do that. They also spark conversations that help households to engage differently when it comes to matters of gender-based violence. We meet the case studies, we meet the beneficiaries and the founders, and we engage with them on how we can forge ahead on this subject matter.
Friendly and diligent, that's how Lebogang Munene was described. Growing up relatively poor, Munene always dreamed of becoming a health practitioner. However, the realization of her dream was short-lived. Munene's energetic life was cut short in a hail of gunfire on the 6th of February.
This incident was another reminder that Tembisa, a township in Ekurhuleni, is a hotspot for gender-based violence. It is ranked in the top 5 of South African townships in which the scourge of GBV and Femicide is disturbingly high. Most households and schools in the township suffer the backlash of the social ill, and these are some of the testimonies from the residents and community leaders.
I do encounter a rejection from my father. I was kicked out from the house. I'm embarrassing him at the church.
With one of the child that we found, the mother drinks a lot.
She was afraid of failure, so she wanted to take her life.
I am the firstborn. We are 4 girls and 2 boys. We grew up in a happy family. Yes, it was nice kuba kuleyo family, but you know, as umntwana uyazibona nezinye izinto eziba khona ngaphakathi like violence, uyabona izinto ezifana nalezo. Uma nobaba bebathandana, uthando lona belikhona, bebathandana lokwangempela, like uma bekangeke aphumele ngaphandle angakacabzanga indoda yakhe, and my father do the same also. So, but the problem is ubaba taught by ukushaya uma it shows ukuthi uyindoda fanele abonakale azwakale nakakhuluma ngezandla ukwabona sometimes uma bekakunormalizeile ezuthando ayishemazanga akakhulume nakancane ukuthi hayi uyahlukunyezwa bekabona ezuthando but be affecta thina kakhulu ezabantwana babo.
The experiences Jabulile Maseko had whilst growing up contributed towards the life choices she made.
My father bekaphuza utshwala ne. I told myself ukuthi mina nangikhulu husband ephuza utshwala cha, not for me. You know, sometimes those environments esibakizo you learn to adopt your own values. Ukuthi mina ngifuna ukukhula kanje, ngifuna ukuthi abantwana ngibakhulise kanjena.
Issues of social welfare have always been close to Jabulile's heart.
Kube bekuya ngami ngabe ngaqala ngaba social worker, but my father didn't have money, like and another thing nalokuthi he didn't believe umntwana wentombazana, you know, like ukuthi umntwana wentombazana if umfundisa kwamela ahambe ayogana ayoshisa ngababhodo ubone ngathi kuyi waste ukufundisa mina. Then I had ukuthi ngize eHauteng, then ngaqala ukusebenza in this company that I'm working in. It's a logistic company. As a cleaner. I worked there as a cleaner for 1 year. Then my boss said, no, Cynthia, this is not for you. You have to do something about your life. Then I thought, okay, because I don't have enough money, I started studying like at Damelin, doing a computer course. Then I went to MSc college to study IT. Then I decided, okay, let me study what I want to be, which is social work.
Bekafunda eUNISA, so kwatholakala ukuthi leyo degree bekayenza at some point kudinga i-practical. So wafuna i-organization, but sengikhohliwe igama layo, wagcina ijoinile la enze i-practical for a year. Then after I completed that practical, base bawa interested ukuthi bangamchasha, but yana because bekane dream ukuthi one day ofuna go owner her organization. so azange ngaleyo ndlela akhona ukuthi athathe leyo offer yakhe yabo.
So I decided ukuthi ngicale iYana, and you know what, it was bengiloku ngithi ngiyayicala until President wethu amemezela about this gender-based violence as a second pandemic ngo-2020. We offer psychosocial support, counseling to abantwana. Our aim is to root out the source of gender-based violence. We need to see where is it coming from. Then we can talk to this child. The child can explain this is what is happening at home. Then as Yana, we don't just sit there and say it's okay, then we cancel Mtwana and say it's okay. We just go straight also to the home environment and invite the parents to speak with them.
Without her family's support, she wouldn't have made it this far.
My family is very, very supportive. You know, when I'm doing events, my husband is always there for me.
It's easy, but as a husband, being a supporter, ngim encourager. I challenge nje yokuqala ukuthi bekunganandawo. So kwakoza ukuthi sacrifice a space for imoto, and then angene lapha egarage asebenzele khona. So bekunzima because every day koseke ntambama phakamise matafula kungena imoto egarage. I do support sometimes financially, thola ukuthi kunama events koseke awenze since kuyi NGO, so kuba nzima uthola ukuthi imali ayikho, then kufuneka ngikhiphe out of my pocket ukuthi ngenze ukuthi that event ibe possible.
Welcome back to the show, and thank you for choosing us right here on Stories Untold. Our journey with You Are Not Alone, and non-governmental organizations still continue. Right now, we take a closer look at the intervention programs that they run, and also how they reunite estranged family members and spark dialogues that are healthy and are able to empower perpetrators of gender-based violence as well as survivors of gender-based violence.
Jabulile has other people that help her with the day-to-day running of Yana, who also assisted in organizing the peace picnic.
Are you excited? Are you excited?
The war against GBV and Femicide has to be intensified. The latest crime statistics released by the Minister of Police should be a call for communities to work together.
The gender-based violence line Tembisa is so hectic. Kids young as 10 years old, they will go and beat up a girl for no reason at all. So I'm beating her up. You can even see it with the kids when they play. If someone does something wrong, they resort to beating them up instead of saying, okay, no, I don't like what you did, and this is why it's wrong, and this is why you shouldn't do it again.
We've noticed that most people, we don't believe in talking. We don't believe that talking actually helps. So we actually offer e-counseling to everyone, any community. We also are partnered with the Department of Education, where we help Nase Ikolweni. We go and offer e-counseling, especially Ikolweni. Our main focus is to actually see at least GBV, because we believe if we attack it, especially the next generation at least
Yana comes in twice in a week at schools, that is in Tuesday and Thursday. Then from there we'll refer the cases of bullying that are happening in the school. And then when we are done with that, they will sit down and interview them in the schools. And then there will be classroom intervention and support for the kids that have got problems. Then from there, they will go to their houses as ancillaries and social workers that are trained to do so. What we also help is call the parents maybe to come to school. And we also refer if there is a violent at home. We also refer, remember Yana is dealing with families and children. So Yana refers the parents of these kids, maybe they see that at home.
The first point of entry in minimizing GBV is to instill good behavior and good ethics in our children. Children learn through observing. If they observe love, they'll be loving. However, if they observe abuse, they will also display rage and fury towards others.
We went to the other school because one of the children have been beaten in that other school. So those are neighboring schools. So they went, the grade 7 and 6, they gang together, they went to the other school. And lucky enough, the police were around. They kept the whole thing. They brought the culprit with us. Then what we did after that was to call the parents and then to sit down with the parents. To tell you the honest fact, with one of the child that we found, the mother drinks a lot. She doesn't even give them care. So she's crying for that care. So we also referred that case. Yana is also dealing with it now.
Recently, we had just been going to court for this guy, Bulale, his girlfriend, by stabbing her 17 times. And that was really painful. So we're just trying to go in and help where we can, teach people how to communicate instead of resorting to violence.
The department called me in high school. The child is a matric. She was being bullied at class. She felt so I had to ngikhulume naye, and when I understood when I tried to understand her story, it is actually from home. They actually pressuring Yena because of she's in matric, she's the first one of matric, so they're expecting a lot from Yena. And magafike skolweni, things are changing because gunabantu ama high performers and she's not even one. So balance because eskolweni she's the lowest and Lini but means I would have at 200%. So she was afraid of failure. So she wanted to take her life, but I was able to see and we talk actually in a like sometimes occasionally I call her right, I say right, she's fine now. I called the parents to actually make them aware of ama actions wabo, to actually bamnikeze space or say fail ukuthi nabo ba understand ukuthi okay, she can fail and we're still proud of her samthanda because she felt ukuthi abazali bakhe they want her to pass. That's what they want from her. So I've actually did family counseling where I've included the child and also obviously ngeconcern yomntwana because you cannot call abazali umntwana angavumanga.
Yana, together with other community organizations, had a roundtable discussion which were aimed at developing a peace strategy to help in minimizing and ultimately ending GBV.
That to love someone doesn't mean you have to go to umshaye. You need to love umuntu ngokuthi nature like umnikeze ihug, umnikeze kiss.
It's not only civil society organizations that has a role to play, even you as an individual.
Gender roles and gender stereotypes contribute towards GBV and femicide. South Africans haven't fully grasped all matters pertaining to the LGBTQI+A community, and it is for this reason that Yana is working hand in hand with Tato, One Big Family.
I do encounter a rejection from my father. I was kicked out from the house. I'm no longer a child. I'm embarrassing him at the church.
We were taught in the Bible, it's just that sometimes there's a misinterpretation of the verses. But we were told in the Bible that we need to accept as God has accepted us. So we're accepted. We need to accept others, irrespective of their genders, because some of the things we don't know even about them. Ours is to welcome everybody as pastors. I'll just make an example. What if there's something that needs to be done in the community and now we find out a person that can be able to assist us is from the LGBTQI family? And then what will happen? Which means because I have a problem with LGBTQI families, and then we will not achieve what we want to achieve.
During our work or doing that process of awareness, we came across cases like rejection, corrective rape, from their families. The rejection is where your father or your mother or your family disown you. They reject you, they disown you. You go outside to stay with your friend. It's where you encounter, you start having depression, and then corrective rape is still a GBV because they send your uncle or a other person to correct you, say no, sleep with a man, you are a woman, you are not a woman. That's a GBV.
Be doing our backroom talks. Backroom talks, it's where we go to backroom yards and talk about GBV with families, because sometimes it will be only us as stakeholders meeting. But now we are saying, let us change. Let us go to families. Sit with our neighbors, sit with our next door, sit on the issue of GBV. MEC where safety, Ube spots on this time to say we are going to launch on the 25th at Soweto. We are going to launch the GBV 365 days. So it's not now going to be 16 days of activism, but it will be 365 days, which means every day we need to do something about GBV.
I'm saying to the community, we are there. We are social workers, professional social workers. Iyana inama social workers azimisele amaningi and they're not getting paid. And bayawenza umsebenzi wabo with passion.
Welcome back. This is where we invite you at home to be part of the conversation as we observe 16 days of activism against violence on women and children. Would also like to engage with you about your thoughts about the scourge in gender-based violence. What are your thoughts? We are on Twitter at Stories Untold TV. We now continue with You Are Not Alone, non-governmental organization. And in this particular segment, we are looking at how we can engage, of course, about gender-based violence differently, but also is it a topic that we should only focus in around this time of the year, or can we create opportunities and platforms to engage, grow and heal throughout the year?
We have the Youth Skills Program. We call all the young ones in our community and we teach them about how to carry themselves, to have compassion and empathy and hygiene. It's a long list, it goes on, but most importantly, my favorite has to be consent. Yeah, because people have a misconception of what consent is. They don't understand when it's not given. So it's very important that we teach them from a young age what is consent, and when the consent is not given, how do you realize that?
I was fighting a lot with my daughter. We fought and it was not nice. But what we then did as a solution, we both did personality tests. So we discovered that our personalities are different. So what is it that we need to do? So as part of the Peace Corner, as part of the Lady of Peace, we try and encourage people to take in these personality tests, and we can administer them with the links that we have from the psychologists that are in our network. So we believe that if we can get our personalities right in the household, we'll be able to manage. When your daughter screams at you, you should be able to decipher, as they say. You should be able to discern, as the Bible is also teaching us, to be able to say, okay, what's wrong with my child now? Why is she screaming at me? Instead of doing what? Why you are retaliating. So what are you creating? Already conflict.
I think parents don't communicate kakhulu. Like in most cases, I believe we are a head generation. I don't wanna lie. Abazali, they're going through a lot, and they believe they don't believe in talking. So I always tell people, guys, talking it also, yeah, healer, whatever I just talk about it. In normal, I know what you need money, you want food, you want, but talk about your problems. The
message I can tell them is to call us and sit down, come social work and sit down with their parents, so that, because you cannot do anything without telling the parents, teaching them actually. GBV is happening every day, but now we have 1 or 2 weeks for 16 days of activism. So in my opinion, I wish they can do it every day. And to add on that, they must stop embracing LGBTI only June because it's Pride Month. We are celebrating. Then we must have the week or 2 weeks as LGBTI, where every organization will do awareness about LGBTI. I think that will add more awareness.
As umuntu ozobe abukele le show ngithi kuye ungahlali ku toxic environment. Umuntu nakaqala kushaya kayi1 baleka ngoba mina I don't believe ukuthi into nayo ithanda uyayishaya. You know, I always tell people this. My husband unale moto iOdi. Indala kodwa nayibhekile ngeke uyibona ukuthi indala. Because nakayibona ukuthi ihwayekile uyayipolisha. So then ngihlala ngibekisela abantu ukuthi into oyithandayo uyayipolisha. Iblomu lakho na ulithanda uyalinisela uthela amanzi ukuthi lihlale lilihle, but angeke ulibulala ngithi nale moto yakhe angeke ayihwaye njengamabomu because uyayithanda. So umuntu into nakayithanda uyitreata kahle. So umuntu nakazokushaya akwenze like hayibo hayi leyo muntu akakuthandi. Bona kahle uthando aluna violence.
And on that note, we end our show here for today and would like to leave you with this question. Are we engaging enough with perpetrators of gender-based violence? Are we rehabilitating them enough? And are we also having a multi-dimensional conversation with perpetrators as well as survivors of gender-based violence? Because it does go both ways. From myself, Pule Molebati, we would like to say goodbye. Let's do this again next week, same time, same place.